Hello again, everybody, and welcome to episode 85 now here at Lifestyle Center. And I'm Barry Fair, and welcome to this 31st day of March. Isn't it incredible how March has gone like out the door? And Easter is creeping up on us in 20 days' time, 3 weeks' time. So we will talk about that today on the show, and we might as well open the show with that. So Easter. What is Easter, I hear you ask out there? Well, Easter is the time where our Lord Jesus Christ died on the cross for us, for our sins, and many church services take place across Australia. And joining me now in the studio to discuss our first topic, good morning to Alec Taylor. Welcome to episode 85.
Good morning, Barry, and thanks for having me on the show.
Well, Easter, what happens at Easter? Well, the Easter show, which we will talk about, and at Easter, which starts on Good Friday, it runs for 4 days. So you've got Good Friday, Easter Saturday, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday. So here's Alec to open the show with that.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. And it is a great time of year, isn't it? So 2 public holidays means that everybody gets a really long weekend. Lots of people will spend time with their family. And some people will go away for an extra long weekend. And also because I think Anzac Day happens the following week, it's a short week, and some people will take leave from their work and they will go away for a longer period of time. So it's kind of also an opportunity just to take a break, a holiday.
And we will talk about double demerits too. So if you are going away, and we have said this, plan your trip properly. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. Plan your trip if you're going on a driving holiday. Do a good job of planning where you're going to go and what you're going to take with you, and drive safely because, as you say, the state government usually has a double demerit policy on these public holiday long weekends. So if you get pinged for breaking the rules on the road, you will lose twice as many points as you would normally do. So there's extra incentive to drive safe.
And before you go on that all-important Easter holiday break, consider your health, okay? Because it is coming into the cooler months and the days are getting shorter and shorter. And like we usually will bang on about COVID, but we are not worried about that at the moment. But it doesn't hurt to have a COVID testing kit available in your house. But we're not talking about that. But it is very important, guys, to really consider, are you well enough to travel? Are the kids well? Have they had their flu vax yet? Here's Alec.
Yeah, great point, Barry. So we are coming into that time of year, aren't we, where there'll be a new flu vaccine that'll come out with all the new strains of flu that are happening in other countries and coming back to Australia. Now is a good time to start thinking about updating your flu vaccinations. and making sure that you are all prepared and that you don't get sick when you go away on a holiday.
And make sure that you've got everything signed by your doctor, like all your medicines, and all your scripts, because if you need to fill out a script while you are away, find out where your nearest chemist is and when it opens and shuts. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. And it's better, isn't it, to be prepared, and so to make sure that you've already filled out your script before you go away, so you don't need to be, while you're supposed to be on a holiday relaxing, looking for a chemist, and trying to fill out a script. So try to be organised before you go away. Make sure you've got enough of your medicine if you've got medicine, so that you don't need to find medicine while you're away.
So always stock up on your medicines, okay? Make sure that the family is well, okay? Really get a good night's sleep before you go away, and have regular breaks on the road too. Make sure your car is in good condition before you go away, because the last thing you want to have happen is something go wrong with the car halfway to your destination. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good advice, Barry. So if you're going to go on a driving holiday, it's a really good idea to put your car in for a service, and just to have everything checked out, make sure that everything's in working order, nothing's going to break down, all the fluid levels are good, there's good oil and water and coolant. So yeah, it's a great idea just to make sure that your car is in good shape before you go away.
And make sure you have a good working petrol gauge, because you will need to know how much petrol you are using. And never carry petrol in ice cream cans. Get a jerry can or store some petrol safely away from the kids. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. So, containers, proper containers for fuel are readily available now. And if you do want to take spare fuel, particularly if you're going somewhere a little bit, off the beaten track, then just make sure you've got the right container for fuel, and that it's safely stored.
And make sure you have a sturdy roof rack to store everything on, and make everything safe with ropes, because if you are traveling on uneven roads and the car goes bumpity bump bump bump, and everything suddenly starts to wobble around, make sure you've got good ropes and belts to keep everything on the roof. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that's very good advice, Barry. So if you're carrying things on your roof in one of those trays or on roof racks, make sure you've got all the right equipment to fasten the things on properly. Straps, bungee cords sometimes are pretty good, and yeah, make sure everything is fixed properly on your roof, or even in like a trailer, or however you're carrying it. Make sure it's all fixed properly.
And make sure you've got good tires and enough the good tire pressure. Check your tire pressure and all that. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good part of servicing your car, making sure that the tires are all in good shape, that there's enough grip on them, and that they're at the right tire pressures for going away. Make sure they're in good condition. The last thing you'd want to do is have a problem with your tires while you're on holiday.
And it's also very important, guys, to really take care of the car, because if you don't book the car in for a service early and then you go on the road and then suddenly something goes bang, pops,
Hello?
blows up.
That was good timing, wasn't it? You said, goes bang, and then the door opened. It was good timing.
But like we say, the show must
Show
go.
must go on. Absolutely.
So anyway, if something goes wrong with that car, with the car, whilst you're on the road, remember, like Jack Absalom used to said in his program, there are no friendly service stations out in the sticks. And be careful of your petrol too, because like, you need to have enough to at least get you from A to B. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack Absalom made those videos many, many years ago, I think in the late 70s or maybe early 80s. And what he was talking about was, if you're driving in the outback over some of those really long distances, in some places there are no service stations, you know, and you'll see a sign that says last fuel for 600 kilometers, you know, and so you absolutely need to be prepared for those kinds of situations. So if you're planning to do one of those drives on a long stretch of road where there aren't service stations, you need to make sure you have enough fuel and that your car is in good shape.
And also, have good communication. Like if you need to get in touch with the other driver in another vehicle with their family, make sure you know where you're gonna start your trip, have a meeting about it, what to discuss, what is going to work and what is not going to work. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice, isn't it? So it's actually a really good idea to travel with other people because then you've kind of got backup for each other. You know, so if something goes wrong with one person, then the other people can actually help you out and vice versa. So good idea to travel with someone else and good idea to have a plan. We're going to meet at such and such place at around such and such time. And that way, if you don't make it in time, you know, the other people can raise the alarm. Make sure that help comes to rescue you.
Because it is also very important to check in at your local police station to get an alert card. Again, because like you get a card, you fill it in, and then the police will hold one copy, and then you take the copy that you filled out to either the next police station. Here's Alec.
Yeah, so you're talking about a program, I think that was also on the Jack Absalom show, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so he was describing a program, certainly that existed back then when he was making his show, where you could check in with a police station and then they would make sure that the next police station knew that you were going to check in once you'd arrived at your destination, which sounds very helpful. I don't know much about that program now. I don't even know if it still exists, but certainly it did back then when Jack Absalom was making his videos.
And if you cannot fix your car and you're stuck, take all the wheels off and send out a smoke signal. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that was a really interesting idea, wasn't it? So I think what he was saying was, If you're really stuck, your car just absolutely won't go, maybe you're completely out of petrol, you're in the middle of nowhere, you've been waiting a while and nobody is going to come and help you, sending a signal is one way of attracting attention. And one way to do that is to burn a tyre, and it makes a big plume of black smoke, and then people might see that smoke and come and investigate. It's quite a clever idea, isn't it?
So you burn a tube in the morning and a tyre in the afternoon. So you would have to have 5 tyres and 5 tubes.
Yeah, and he was sort of saying, make sure that your signal is not just short term, right? So that you've got a signal in the morning and a signal in the night, and you've got several days of signaling.
Because you don't want to end up broken down in the middle or whoop. Here's Alec.
Absolutely, Barry. So yeah, if your car did break down and you weren't in a place where there were lots of people going past, you could get stuck and in real trouble. So signalling for help.
And also check the condition of the road as well before you drive on it. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that's very good advice, and particularly for a lot of the roads up in Queensland and the Northern Territory, where in the rainy season they actually close some of the roads. Some of the roads are flooded, and you can't pass on them. So it's a really good idea to check the road situation before you set out on your trip.
And that is very important. That's the end of segment 1. Segment 2 coming up. Good morning again. This is segment 2 now. Barry Fair and Alec Taylor with you on this Monday morning. The time is coming up to 10 o'clock, if I'm right.
Yep.
And this second segment is about the Easter show. And Easter, well, I've sort of got off the track a bit about Easter, but and driving, so the Easter show, we all love to go to that. And the rides and the show backs, well, we have a couple of tips for you to make your day easier and planning the day. Well, if you're going to the show, make sure that you and your family can afford it. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So it does cost a fair bit to go to the show these days. You have to buy tickets to get in. And if you do want to buy a show bag or some food or some ride tickets, that kind of thing, it does cost money as well. So make sure you save up and you've got enough saved up to cover everything that you want to do for the trip to the Easter show.
Or you can look up online and get early bird tickets. Here's Alec.
Yeah, great idea. So if you know you're definitely going, you can get online and purchase early bird tickets, which are usually a little bit cheaper.
And planning your day. Okay, don't get stressed finding a car park, because that's the last thing you want to do. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. And because the show is down in Sydney Olympic Park, there are lots of car parks and a train station. And I think that actually the organisers these days really encourage you to take the train, so that you don't have that problem of parking. You can actually just catch the train there and walk from the train station to the show and vice versa and head home. So public transport's always a good option.
And work out what time the train or bus will leaves. So if you want to get to the show and have a great day, look up on your website or phone 131 500, I think.
Yeah, so
I
there's
better check that number.
Yeah, let's check that number. So you're absolutely right about checking it out online, and checking out the program. The number, it looks like the call center. Yeah, interestingly, it looks like the number's 9704 1000. So it's not a 13 number anymore, which is sort of interesting, isn't it? You can buy early bird show tickets.
And what about the 131 500
Well, it doesn't say that on
the services?
on the Easter Show website. It actually has the number it has on the Easter Show website is 9704 1000. So I wonder if maybe they've changed number. Maybe they're not using that 1300 number anymore.
So
Was that to buy tickets or just for information?
for the bus,
For the bus. Oh, okay. For the bus to get there, or
the bus to get there.
so that would be Sydney Transport for New South Wales. Do you
Yeah.
think? So they might have a 1300 number. I think, is that what you were thinking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me have a quick look at that. Contact. So their phone number is, what did you think it was?
131.
500.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So the number to call if you want information about transport, whether it's buses or trains, anything to do with public transport, Barry, you are absolutely right. That number is 131 500.
And if you have someone in a wheelchair and you are planning to catch a train, make sure you phone the nearest station that you want to get on at and advise the station at Homebush that you are getting off at so that they can have the ramp ready for you, and find out what time the first train leaves the nearest station and gets to Homebush. And if you are catching the train home from the show, find out what time the first train goes and gets back to your area. Here's Alec.
Yeah, really good idea, Barry, to look up the train timetables. Choose a train that you are going to target to get there and have a think about when you might want to get home and maybe when the last train is as well, so that you make sure you don't spend too long there and you don't miss the last train.
And make sure you book your taxi to get home if you have to travel a fair distance. Okay? Make sure you have enough money to cover yourself and your companion car. And always check the weather forecast if you are going to wait before going to the show. And I have wet weather gear too. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that's a very good idea, Barry, because it does always seem to rain around Easter for some reason. Quite often the Easter show can be a bit rainy. So good idea to check out the weather forecast. And even if it's forecast to be not too bad, not a bad idea to take an umbrella or maybe a raincoat just in case.
And pack some sandwiches and drinks as well, because food can be very expensive. Here's Alex.
Yes, it can, and that is a great idea, Barry. So, great suggestion to actually take some of your own food, some sandwiches, nice healthy food, because the food there is quite often quite expensive. Can be quite nice, but it can be expensive as well. So, if you want to save a few dollars and have some of your own homemade food, take it along with you.
And make sure you put your food in an insulated bag, okay? Because if you're taking sandwiches, make sure you don't put any perishable stuff on it. Unless you take a can of tuna, and then that way you can make it there. Here's Alex.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. So if you are making something that's fresh and could go off, make sure you have it in a cold bag, some kind of insulated container, or better still, as you say, take some food that you can just kind of put together when you get there, and that it'll sort of stay fresh in the tin, and so you don't have to worry about the insulation.
Because food poisoning is the last thing you want to have happen. Here's Alex.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to get sick from a trip to the Easter show. Yeah, you want to keep your food fresh and have a good time.
And work and make a list of the show bags. Work out how much it's going to cost you, okay? But don't buy up all the shop, okay? Here's Alex.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So check out what's available, see what you're interested in if you want to buy a show bag. There are usually lots and lots of different show bags to buy, all sorts of things that you can get. So not a bad idea to prepare beforehand and have a think about what you might want to buy. Certainly makes your job easier once you get there, and you don't have to kind of spend a lot of time choosing. You can choose before you go.
And when you get to the show, guys, it's always very important to arrange a meeting place. Okay, because people do tend to get lost at the show. Here's Alex.
That is a really sensational idea, Barry. So it is very easy to get lost. Lots and lots of people go. There are lots of crowds. It's easy to get separated from your friends or your family. So have a plan and agree to meet somewhere. There are lots of different meeting places around the show. Very good idea to have a plan and a meeting place.
And have your mobile on you at all times. Make sure it is charged. So if you get separated, okay, make sure that you've got the person's mobile so that you can ask where they're going to meet for your lunch, or where they're going to meet so that you can see a show and things like that. Here's Alex.
Yeah, very good idea again, Barry. And I think most people these days do take their phones with them wherever they go, and just making sure that it's got good battery so that if you do need to talk to someone, if you've separated, whether deliberately or accidentally, you can call them and get back in contact and figure out a way of getting back together.
And always have emergency contacts, because if someone is sick on the day of the show or at the show, make sure you ring them and say, hey, look, something's happened, a medical emergency. So if you need to call 000 at the show, give the operator the exact details of where you are and who you're calling the ambulance for. Say your name, the address, etc. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do need help, it's a good idea to be very specific about what you are. I think also at the Easter Show, there are quite a lot of people there, official people there, who can help you as well. So if you do need help, you can reach out to one of the organisers, one of the staff members that are around at the show.
So we hope that you enjoy the day of the show. Have fun, guys, but don't spend up big. Well, segment 3 today on the show, on episode 85, is about the history of the show. We brought this up on episode 84. Okay, and it is with sadness that I have to wind up the show. And I really do hate having to make a decision, but, you know, like I've said to you viewers before, and I will say it again today on the show, I have to do what is right for me, otherwise I will get exhausted. Here's Alec now.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. And I think it's a very sensible thing and a good decision that you've made. I think you were saying last time that the travel's a bit tiring, and that you were thinking about staying more locally next year. So we've still got a few months of this year to go.
Yeah, so as I said, don't get the Kleenex tissues out just yet. Wait until December, please. But anyway, let Alec and I take you back to where the show first began. Well, it sort of began around the COVID time, around 2020. And it was a very sad time for us when we had the lockdown. And we couldn't do the show here. Okay, and this happened in December of 2021. Okay, Christmas parties were cancelled. COVID had hit on the northern beaches. It was a bit of a mess, the show, and then again in 2022, okay, I had to stay home for a bit. Then I said goodbye in March of 2022 and was away for 10 months. But on the 21st of February 2023, I came back in, but the actual show did not start until the 6th of March. So that's how far the show's gone. I've covered the lot. Here's Alec.
Yeah, Barry, it's been going a long time, hasn't it? So you were actually making videos, I think, even before 2020. So there are some older videos from the early days. Then you started filming here at Lifestyles in St Ives, and have been filming on and off ever since. You were even filming up in Brisbane for that 10-month period that you were up there, and then started the show back again when you came back, when you came from Brisbane to New South Wales. So yeah, it's been a great ride, and there's been lots of fun topics that you've talked about, lots of interesting subjects, lots of funny moments, and lots of helpful hints and tips, and it's been a great show.
And the intros and the outros as well. Let's go over them. The first one was Wheel of Fortune, and that had Barry Fair Productions presents, and this has been, and it also had, remember, only call 000 in an emergency, and then see you later, and then we followed it up with Richmond Hill, with some footage from Manly. Here's Alec now.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So filming that that footage for that intro and outro was a lot of fun. We did that on an outing down in Manly, and it was a real blast. And it was great to be able to use that footage then in your intro and outro. So we put, I think you said, as you said, put the Richmond Hill music in the background, and pasted in lots of awesome footage of you cruising around Manly, and that was a fantastic video for the intro and outro. And then what came after Richmond Hill?
Chopper Squad.
Chopper Squad, that was fun too, and I think Mel North made an appearance in Chopper Squad, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun as well. And after Chopper Squad,
it was Channel 9.
Channel 9, right? And around that time, I think you went off to Brisbane.
Yeah.
Sometime after that. And then when you got back, we did another one, didn't we?
The Young Doctor.
That's right. A real highlight of the intros and outros, wasn't it? That was very, very funny.
And it was right here in this room.
In this
Where
room,
we did it.
we did a lot of the filming here. We had a patient and you were performing an operation. We had a special guest doctor. It was Sam, who was the manager at the time of Lifestyles. She made a guest appearance and could barely contain herself for the whole time. It was very, very funny, a very entertaining intro and outro. And the process of producing it was quite a lot of fun. And then after that one, was there another one after that? After Young?
The Hawkesbury River Bridge.
That's right. Yeah. So this was a couple of videos actually. So the main video was the intro, which was the Hawkesbury River documentary. We cut a few clips from that video, pieced it together for a very cool looking sort of retro intro. And then I think there was a video from Queensland about an overpass or something, or an underpass.
Or from cars coming out of the tunnel.
Right, and we used that for the outro, and that was a really nice little set. Less sort of funny and silly, but still really nice, and a bit sort of retro and old school and nice and cool. And then, was there another one after?
The Learning Tunes.
Is that the latest one? The latest one came after the Hawkesbury. Wow, yeah, okay, cool. So, and that one's the most recent intro and outro, where we've taken the good old intro and outro from the Looney Tunes cartoons back in the 70s and 80s, I think. Bugs Bunny,
Yeah.
you know, and Porky Pig and all of those things, and have created a very fun and happy intro and outro out of those videos.
So we've done about 8 intros and outros, and we can tell you we've had a lot of fun making,
They have been fun, haven't they?
and even the whole show, putting it together, I've had a real pleasure of doing. Here's Alec.
Yeah, mate, and it's also been a pleasure to be a special guest on your show from time to time. It's been a real honour, and it's been a lot of fun. We've still got a few shows to go this year. See if we can't creep up to the 100 mark, maybe by the end of the year. That would be
Well,
pretty cool.
we're nearly edging that because the next time we meet it will be episode 86.
Yes, absolutely. So we're getting closer and closer, aren't we, to that magical 100 number. I do expect that you'll get there before the end of the year, or around the end of the year. And that's fantastic and a huge achievement.
And there will be no show on the Easter Monday, so we won't be here for that, or the King's birthday in June, or the Labor Day show, or the Labor Day, so a few little breaks here and there. Okay, so the show has still got plenty of life support in it, and I will have the life support gear out to save the show. Here's Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. So still going to go strong for the rest of the year. As you say, there'll probably be a few little mini breaks in there for public holidays and other things, but got plenty of weeks and months to go before the end of the year.
And now, here's the last segment, Daylight Saving. Our final segment today on episode 85 is Daylight Saving coming to an end. And before I remind you about that, what is Daylight Saving and when did it originate in New South Wales? Well, Daylight Saving commenced in New South Wales in 1917. Well, we were not even thought of, Alec or myself or anybody. So, what is daylight saving, I'm hearing you ask? Well, daylight saving is when the clocks go forward 1 hour in the spring and summertime. This is called Eastern Standard Daylight Saving Spring Summertime. Here's Alec to tell you about it.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting thing. So we do it here in Sydney, and I think it happens down in Melbourne, but not up in Brisbane, where the length of the day doesn't vary as much as it does down here, down south. But because the days are so much longer during the summer, people have decided to take advantage of it and push the clocks forward at the start of summer, so that there's more light towards the end of the day. So there's more time, more daytime effectively. And then of course the reverse happens at the end of summer.
At the end of summer and autumn, so this is called the fallback and winter time. Okay, so this is called Eastern Standard Time in that case. So instead of it being, what time are we now?
10:26.
So it will be 9:26 next Monday. So at 2 a.m. on Sunday, 3 a.m. will become 2 a.m. So, like Alex just said, instead of it being 10:26 like it is now, it will be 26 minutes past 9. And it is that time in Queensland, I think, now.
Mm-hmm.
And in Perth, what time is it there?
Well, Perth is different again, of course, because they are actually in a different time zone. Because Australia is so wide, they the sun actually comes up several hours after us, and so I will have to Google what the time is. I think it's 3 hours, isn't it? A 3-hour time difference. Earth time right now is 7:27, so that's 3 hours behind us. So it's very early in the morning, or just quite early in the morning in Perth, and they're 3 hours behind us.
So when daylight,
And they do not observe daylight saving.
so when we go back, Perth again will be different.
That's right. There'll be 2 hours different.
So
When
it
we go
will
back.
be
Yeah.
5:27. Is that right?
So it'll still be 7:27, but our time will change. So they don't change their clocks at any time through the year. West Australia, they don't have daylight saving time. They just keep the same time all year round. So it'll still be 7:27 on Monday, but our time will be different. Our time will be 9:27, so there'll only be a 2-hour time difference between us, whereas right now there's a 3-hour time difference.
So guys, so the cold, dark winter nights are coming. And we're going to close the show with a couple of recipes. Well, we thought we might close the show today with chocolate galore. And here it is there. Or there it is there. Now let's have a look.
Cooking with chocolate.
Okay, cooking with chocolate.
And lots of different recipes in here, lots of different ingredients. And do you have a favorite recipe in here that you wanted to talk about?
Okay,
Anything in particular that you remember and that you like?
what's this one here?
White chocolate fingers or no-bake chocolate bars?
Let's go for the biscuits.
All right, so white chocolate fingers.
And what's at the front? What's at the front?
At the front earlier,
Yeah.
at the very first recipe is double choc chip cookies.
Yep, but
This one here.
yeah, so if you're thinking of filling up the biscuit jar with lots of yummy biscuits, double choc chip cookies, okay? This is what you need. You will need 150 grams of butter, 150 grams of caster sugar, 1 egg beaten, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 200 grams plain flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, 50 grams of good quality plain chocolate broken into pieces, and 50 grams of good quality white chocolate broken into pieces. Okay, preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, if I've got that right.
Yeah.
Lightly grease a baking sheet. Beat together the butter and sugar until pale and fluffy. Break in the egg and vanilla extract, which I left out.
No, you didn't. You mentioned it.
Alright. And then beat in the mixture. Add the chocolate and stir until mixed. Place about 5 to 6 rounded teaspoons of the cookie mixture onto the baking sheet, leaving plenty of space between them, as the cookies will almost double in size. Bake them for 12 to 15 minutes until golden. Leave to cool on the baking sheet for 2 to 3 minutes, then transfer the wire rack to cool completely. Cookies can be stored in an airtight container for up to 1 week, and you can dunk them in a cup of tea or coffee. Here's Alec now.
Absolutely scrumptious sounding recipe, mate. Sounds really delicious.
So,
Very yummy cookies.
so there are so many recipes in this book, and if you're tempted to make any of the recipes in there, I suggest you go ahead and look at the book. Here's Alec.
Yep, and here it is. Chocolate galore.
Chocolate galore if you're
Part of books, no.
a chocoholic.
It's a great one.
Great book. So guys, now it is time to wrap up the show. Thank you everyone for joining us on episode 85 today. We have come to the end of episode 85. We hope that you have enjoyed the topics we have talked about today on the show. And the closing message is always, and the community announcement, please do not, and we repeat, do not call 000 unless you have an emergency. I'm going to put it out there that the ambulance service, the fire brigade and the police are vastly more busy than what you might give thought to. So if you see an ambulance or a fire brigade vehicle or a bush fire truck or a police vehicle in your local area with lights and sirens, please give thought to them, because they have lives to save. These services do not have time for idiots wasting their time. Here's Alec now to close the show with that.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Always a good community service announcement. Only use 000 in an emergency. And thanks for having me on the show.
And just a reminder, the Easter show is coming up on the 11th of April. So if you happen to see me around, give me a smile or a wave, buy something from me. Here's Alex.
Yep, absolutely, Barry. And have a great time at the show, mate.
And And if we don't see you before the next show, have a good time, stay safe, drive safe, and eat well, drink well, sleep well, okay, because your health is important. Here's Alec now.
Thanks for having us on the show, Barry.
And you've been watching episode 85. See you in a couple of weeks. And just a reminder, daylight saving ends this Sunday morning at 2 a.m. So don't forget to put your clock back 1 hour before you go to bed on Saturday night. And that's a wrap. Episode 85 has now drawn to a close. See you next time around for episode 86 in 2 weeks from today. So until we see you again, it's bye from myself, Alec Taylor, Barry Bear and Alec Taylor. Have a great day, everybody. See you around next time for another jam-packed episode. Until then, as Tony Barbie used to say, keep smiling and bye for now. You have been watching episode 85. This program is a production of Barry Fair and is produced by Barry Fair. Is recorded at our Lifestyles Center here at Sinai. Any unauthorized commentary or footage will be dealt with, and if you record anything without the consent of the owner, there will be prosecution. Here's Alec to take us out with that.
Yeah, thanks, Barry, and thanks for having us on the show.
And River Dirty, folks. That's all. Bye-bye.